not me. No! Shush! Anyway. Hi friends, we are about to dive into episode 8, I believe, of Your Lie in April, season 1, or just one series. I guess this will be only one season. It's been a couple weeks since I recorded my last video for ReactorCon. For those of you who are paying attention, I had announced that I was going to take a break for the week after because I was just so drained. And I really only had the energy to do a little bit. And mainly I didn't take a break from everything is because getting behind and reacting to the more live shows tends to be a little bit more work than it's worth. So I stayed on top of that. Those actually came out on time, pretty much. And I'm hoping to make sure they stay on time, especially because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending next week now. The third to last episode airs tonight, and as someone horrifically said on Twitter, only about 120 minutes left of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is rude. But we still have plenty of episodes left of season 1 of Your Lie. We're not even done the first half of the season. Last episode, gosh, what was the last episode? Oh, prepping for the piano competition. So, oh my gosh, 2 weeks and I've already forgotten the name of some of the characters. Kusai, yes, he is, of course, super stressed. And for the first time ever, he feels actually fear before he goes on and performs. And she's reminding him, and he's seeing that fear is in everybody. Even the most elite players, the winners, the blonde guy, you saw him throwing up because he was just so stressed and clammy. And it is kind of insane that when you are in a field where, that's not like, the medical field, that going on and doing something evokes intense anxiety and just insanity. You're just like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing this? And of course, it all changes when you're in the middle of a performance and you're running, oh yes, this is why I do what I like to do. Because again, the performing arts is a strange thing where there's this intense, anxiety. It's all about, the whole thing hinges on the performance, that's why. And if the performance goes wrong, it's just like, but we're seeing him experience fear. Kyory's there with Tsubaki and Wari, and they're there to support him. Of course, Wari's out cold. I'm excited to dive into this episode and get back into it. Just a reminder, in terms of anime, One Punch Man is almost nearing its end. Nearing its end. And after that, we're going to go on to Assassination Classroom, and I decided to announce a little early during ReactorCon, even though we have quite a few episodes left before we're ending it. After Your Lie in April, there will be Violet Evergarden, and most of you won't pay attention to that because you skip the intros. No! Again, there's no sound, there's no, partial image on YouTube keeps copyright monsters at bay, and it actually works. If you want to see the full reaction, click the virtual link below. You can see the full reaction for free. Go check it out if you can. But if you can't, you can follow along. There'll be a countdown timer so you can get the episode queued up correctly. I try to do my best to make sure it's correct. And, you can't miss the countdown timer. Of course, without further ado, let's dive right in. Oh, yes, this is the blonde. Takashi. It's a Takiyak. He's doing that because he learned Kusai was there. That is quite prestigious to go overseas. been 2 years since his mom died, or has it been multiple years? Because he looks so tiny.
Tiny is usually defined as very small.
I didn't ask Alexa. I didn't ask. But he's so tiny there. So then, what did they do? Grow twice their size in a short period of time? It can't be 2 years. This art's off. It's so weird. Alexa was listening in. Oh, hush.
I think you just whispered to me. If you'd like me to whisper back, say, turn on whisper mode. Now, I'm Alexa. I share this name with lots of amazing...
Alexa, shut off. This is a one-person show, people. We ain't getting no AI involved. I got so distracted by that so much. She is a great help, indeed, but now is not the time. Did he? I guess he did. Okay, has someone clarify, please? Because it looks like it's been more than quite a few years since his mom died. But he says 2 years, but he was so... I love this intro so much. But they look so itty-bitty there. It doesn't make sense for them to be only 2 years. Like, no one grows that much in that short amount of time. I mean, I know it's middle school, but he looks like he's an itty-bitty elementary guy. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. There can't be that much of a discrepancy issue there. Oh, maybe I should wear my glasses when I'm watching so I can see properly. Alright, I'm done. Sorry. I'm gonna pay attention now. Keep forgetting I don't cut out things in this video. He is so stressed. And part of it is that because these performances probably stress him the heck out. The other being that Kusai is there and he has no idea what to expect with Kusai. I like his hair though. It's very cool. Very Yu-Gi-Oh-ish. He says don't go over here. So basically he might get too confident or he might rush and kind of screw up the piece. They've been friends for a long time, so she's kind of there listening and supporting him in some way. Do you see how the animation changed? His fingers slightly 3D there. But she cares about it, that's why she's listening. Maybe hearing that performance will help him. His shirt concerns me though when he says, no, he is listening. No, life is enough. With sincerity. Is that what they're getting for this performance? He's owning the piece there. Just by existing. Some people, yeah. I'm still trying to get over the 2 years thing, because that's a lot of growing in 2 years. Yeah, but this is a totally different guy now. And he's impressed with him. String! Look at the strings of the piano, the hammers! Sweat. Actually, that was really beautiful. I would have been like, yeah, it was so good. It was. Yeah. He's not entirely wrong. I've even said that because they challenge you to want to be better than them, whether they mean to or not. He needs to know who the guy is. He's so tired. Ah! Ooh, his hand. Poor guy. Oh, yeah, that adrenaline. His adrenaline has dropped. That was not a confrontation he was hoping for. Look at how he's... Of course. The moment he's confronted like that, he's like, okay, yeah. It's so funny. Anyway. You know what's interesting? Getting an idea of this judge's room. Judging people based upon who their mentors are. Interesting. What are you doing? He's such a lech. So she's played, but we didn't get her performance. Aww. So Kusa is going to perform at the second half of the performance. Oh, so she hasn't performed yet. Oh, so we are going to see it. Nah, he is a bit of a jerk. A little bit of a lech. So his absence affected each of them differently. But it's interesting how the judges are judging some of these students based upon who they're... Oh, those are the two coaches. Bit of an arrogant prick, huh? His performance was amazing based upon Kusai's absence. And he did get invited to a global performance. He is #1 now. I think he will. The part of you wants to hope that Kusai will blow Pat out of the water, but I think it'll be good for him not to do that. So she's very influenced by outside. So maybe... So interesting how Kusai's presence... I wonder if this appearance disappeared. So while Kusai's absence really motivated Takashi to push himself for the day he would return, Kusai's absence drained her of her energy. and is now back. So she wants him to notice her too, but in a different way. She's walking differently. She even looks a little different how she's like dressed. Oh, look, I was wondering like about the warm-ups and the things, because I feel like sometimes if you don't warm up, you're gonna cramp your hands. Interesting how like even the coaches are like against each other. She's like doing that and she keeps like stopping herself. Combative creatures. It's a low blow. I don't know, his performance was pretty beast, but she looks amazing too. But I think it's so interesting how Kusai's mere presence has deeply affected. And look at her, she keeps air practicing and then keeps stopping herself. Oh, she's, yeah. Oh, even her nervousness is happening. She's excited because Kusai was there and he's been paying attention to the performances. She'll make him notice her too. But of course, how they want him to notice them, it's gonna be a little different. Halfway point, I'm not gonna pause, we're gonna keep going. Oh, fall asleep. What's with the animation of the little kids like that? When they're nervous and kind of upset and sad. I know, he was back then. It's good to know that he was a bit of a nervous wreck later on, too. Interesting. He's so weedle. He's so cute. Excellent music performers can sit really deeply within a... I know, his little fingers can really sit deeply within a child. There's sometimes certain performers that just stick in your head. Aww. She's so overwhelmed with emotion. She didn't understand what was going on. Aww, she's so cute. There's this cute little video out there of this dad holding his little son, and I think Moonlight Sonata is being played, and little guy's like tearing up, but he doesn't, of course, understand why, because the music's moving him so much. He got cold. His mother really kind of drained the love out of him. Hi, Misaki. I wonder if she was living vicariously through him and kind of hurting him in a way of that. Like a machine. Some people... Also, and it's interesting that part of the people who've known them maybe for a short period of time or a long period of time, but there's also like a respect and love for them. I know, I figured she had a crush for him. Takashi, calm down. She didn't either. I love how his presence is just affecting them so deeply, but in different ways. Like how they approach it, how his absence affected them. Are we gonna get her performance, or are they gonna cut it off for next episode? She does look beautiful. She's very pretty in that red dress. Pops. It is quite striking on that pale background. There's that 3D element to it. So they're all playing different pieces. Oh, that's really cool. They're all from the same composer. That's nice. There we are. Oh. Oh, listen to that volume shift. Sometimes we girls are like that. Our emotions really do affect how we play. Not always so. Or because Kusai's there, you dummy. You know why. I mean, they've all gotten taller. They still kind of look also the same in a lot of ways, so you kind of recognize them when they were kids. And she knows he's watching them because he was watching Takashi, too. Or to reject him. I think I'm missing something here because I'm not a piano player. So Takashi's almost him. He's like, he's my rival. I don't care. And then when Kusai says something nice, he's like, oh, thank ya. But hers is a little different. She wanted him to notice her. He did. So now she wants to be able to play to the point of rejecting him. He's seeing colors. Like a synesthesia kind of thing going on. Never underestimate excellent playing. Sometimes that's all it takes. But now she really oh my gosh. I love these like conflicting emotions in a lot of ways. She sees the colors too. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Winter wind. I'll sing a big cheer. Oh, okay. So, obviously, next episode we are going to actually get to see Kusai's performance. I knew we weren't gonna get his performance. So the episode's, I guess, titled "Let It Ring." What a delightful performance! I absolutely love that. That was just fun and beautiful, and really enjoyed it. And to be honest, most middle school performances aren't really that great. They're pretty terrible. But ever so often, when you encounter a performance, someone with real talent and hard work comes up, and you're just blown away by them. And they're the kind of people that you really hope that they'll play for another 30, 40 years, because you just know if they're this good now, there's so much room for growth. And there always is going to be room for growth. And sometimes that growth is kind of going back and rechecking your technique. The amazing singer, I'm forgetting her name. She's a redhead. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. But she's been singing for decades. And she's this beautiful, technically wonderful singer. And has a lovely voice. Because I've known people with great technique, but they're terrible singers, in my opinion. Next episode's called Resonance. Oh, that one should be interesting. But where was I going with this? But she also, every so often, goes back to a vocal coach to make sure she doesn't develop bad habits, that she can improve her technique. So usually I try to do 2 episodes at a time, back to back on this. But sometimes it's kind of hard. These episodes are really emotionally intense. And also, I get a Stargirl reaction recorded for tomorrow. But I love this episode. I love how, so they're all Chopin's, I don't know how to say his name, pieces, but they all get to choose their own. Choose from his catalog. There we go. They don't have to all play the same piece, which is nice, actually, because I think when you get to choose what piece you wish to play within a specific catalog, I think a lot of times it gives you an idea of a person's personality, of their view of do they want to be challenged or not, depending on the technical level of the piece. Sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, maybe they took the easy way out or not. And usually none of the pieces are easy, but for some people, some aspects of their performances, some aspects of their instrument are easier than others. Some people have a really easy time going up high. Some people have a really easy time going up low. When I played saxophone, I loved learning to go really, really low more than I go really, really high. Actually, it's kind of true of my voice as well. Interesting, I played alto sax, and I am also an alto in terms of singing voice. So it's more fun for me to try to get really low than go really high, but it's good to go both. Scales are super important, and if you really listen, if you know music, if you listen to a lot of the most fantastic pieces you ever listen to, you realize, oh my gosh, they're just filled with just scales a lot of times. And that's kind of, so the idea is, of course, then, if you really get masterful with your scales, then most pieces that you play, unless they have some crazy jumps in them, are pretty easy. Or become easier, not pretty easy. And sometimes they're just, wow. But anyway, those were 2, and I love also how the pieces they chose were indicative of their personality, of how they wanted Kusai to see them, how they wanted them to notice them. And I love how they both wanted him to notice them, and he did. He said something to Takashi. He said, you did great. And Takashi was like, thank you. It looks like he might say something nice to her, and she might not like the fact that he actually compliments her. So it's sometimes you play those moments in your mind where they're just, you think a person's gonna react a certain way, and they react differently, and you don't. And then of course you're kind of set in the shock because you were expecting either a fight or something, and they're like, it doesn't happen. So I think it's kind of funny. I still am kind of curious about how the heck they grew that much in 2 years. So either I'm missing, I don't know, there's something weird going on here in terms of playing. I think there's a lot that I'm missing. I'm fairly certain no matter who grows spurts, you don't grow that much in 2 years. No one does. Unless these little nuggets are taller than they actually are. I don't know. Anyway, I've got some Stargirl to get to. But, what a great episode. Loved it. Beautiful. The next episode does feature Husai's performance. And it looks like he gets a little lost in it. There's some gray or some color loss there. And I'm curious to see how he'll deal with that. The next episode is called Resonance, which is really cool. This one was called Let It Ring, which I didn't know until now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your enemies, and I'll see you next time.